This barely seems imaginable to be thinking of England in the quarter-finals. They looked completely down and out. They were heading home with embarrassment. Then Jude Bellingham's brilliant saved England in the 4th minute of injury time when time was running out, and momentum then shifted in England's favour. Harry Kane, struggling so much in the game, was clinical in the 1st minute of extra time. That header ultimately sealing England's passage. But this was a game that was drifting away from England. They looked so disjointed. They were completely in a shambles. They were so ragged against a team 40 places above them in the world rankings. England looking nothing like the world's 5th best team. We were preparing to be talking about another day of English embarrassment in a last 16 game at Euros, just like in 2016. But somehow these players have produced the goods for Gareth Southgate. In his 99th game in charge, if they'd lost this, he would have been leaving the job and England would have been going home. But now the Three Lions are into a quarter-final against Switzerland, and this could be just the lift that they've been looking for, because the performance in this game was a reflection of what we'd seen so far in the 3 group stage matches. They were drab, they were dreary, they were struggling to create any chances, and they secured their passage into this knockout phase with just 1 win and 2 draws. Then, in this game, they were being completely outrun. Slovakia were looking the more dangerous. They were creating all the chances, and you had Jordan Pickford in the England goal scrambling to save them just to keep it at 1-0. And Jude Bellingham really has been a sensation at Real Madrid in the last year. At just 20, now 21 years old, he's been producing for them so many mesmerising moments, and he's managed to do it for his country when they needed it most, when they were preparing to be dumped out. And the overhead kick he produced was a moment of absolute brilliance. And yeah, then Kane, as the leading scorer, showing why he's done it so many times for his country, producing that winner. For many, this might evoke memories of the 1990 World Cup when David Platt scored for England in the 120th minute to send them into the quarter-finals with a victory over Belgium. Ultimately, they reached the semi-finals in that tournament. This England side know what it's like to reach a final. They did so against Italy 3 years ago, only to lose that final. Maybe now they have the momentum back on their side, and this is a platform for them to build on as they try to emulate the Lionesses 2 years ago by becoming champions of Europe. They're in it, they're still in it, but it was so close for them to be going home.
And Rob, I mean, is this going to be enough, do you think, to appease the Gareth Southgate doubters?
Well, I mean, some of those doubters will have had very little faith in him throughout the 90 minutes. He made the changes that were needed. He'll be assessing the squad now. He's got Mark Gay, the defender who was booked inside 3 minutes, who is suspended now for the next match. And that was one of 3 early suspensions that just showed how sort of chaotic and lacking in cool heads England were. But he does now have several days to try to reassess his squad, to look at who made the impact. Kobe Mainoo, who came into the midfield, was the only change. Does he need to shake things up completely? Some of the talk before this game about whether he needed to rest Jude Bellingham and Harry Kane because they'd been struggling to have an impact. Well, ultimately it was Bellingham and Kane at the opposite ends of their England careers who did come to the rescue. But he will be now looking about whether, you know, someone like Anthony Gordon needs to come in from the start. Ivan Toney created the goal for Harry Kane. He's a newcomer into this tournament as well, so showing those additional attacking options. But I've got to say, some of the England fans leaving now, they were booing at half-time. They were booing throughout parts of the second half. We encountered some fans leaving the stadium in the 90th minute. We'd come out to go on air ready to break news. We thought of an England defeat, and we were telling them that actually Bellingham had saved them. Maybe now those England fans might have a bit more confidence in this side. But England avoided an embarrassment in a tournament that has already produced a shot. The holders went out yesterday. Italy beaten by Switzerland, who are now the next opponents for England. So these tournaments can produce shocks, but England have survived a scare and just about made it through to the last 8.